Elia presents the Underdog podcast where we have live conversations and share stories. I am Mike Kim, and today we're here with a very special guest. I met this man in Winnetka about 7 years ago, a little over 7 years now.
Yeah.
We were at the show. My friend Kevin was like, there's this guy, I don't know what's going to happen when we see him. And I told him, I got your back. And we get there, and I ignored him for like 2 hours. When we go out to Korean barbecue together, and I remember leaving that day and talking with Kevin and thinking, I don't think we're going to have trouble with this guy here. He seems really nice. And I have 4 more days left on that trip, and he came out, hung out with us every day for the rest of the trip. One of the nicest guys I know. A real estate consultant for the 6th largest privately owned organization in the U.S., singer-songwriter of your favorite hits, Casey Nishizu. What's up, Casey?
What's up, man?
So you're a real estate consultant.
Yeah.
Explain what that is.
So a little bit what I do for this company is basically advise people on their real estate. So half of it we'll do internally within the company for internal clients, and the other half will be advising as far as valuation or investment advice.
So what do your parents do? They do this too?
So yeah, my family is also in real estate. So I guess I go back a little bit. My grandfather was a farmer originally.
In what? In California?
In California. So he was born and raised in LA. But I guess my ancestry is Japanese.
Right.
And so they were farmers, and after the war, they just started farming. They had land, and then eventually started, buying real estate. And now they're kind of like property managers. Yeah. So now it's that's what they do. Basically, they own some real estate and property managers.
So you've known you wanted to do this
yes
line
and
of
no.
business?
So I guess I got into it just because it's kind of like my dad worked in the business, and so it's like having or being able to have like an advisor at home, your father.
Right.
And so it's kind of like a logical step to me.
Right.
And so that's what I got into after.
How important do you think that mentorship was navigating yourself in this career path?
For me, it made it a little bit more comfortable. I don't think it's something that they didn't force me into it. It's something they told me growing up, like, you can kind of do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
My father was kind of groomed for the family business, and he didn't want that for his kids.
Mm.
And so I have 2 other brothers, and actually my older brother, he's also in real estate, does construction and structural engineering. So it's kind of funny that we both fell into it.
And you said he worked on the parking lot at Harry Potter World,
yeah, so
right?
his company built the parking lot at Harry Potter World. I think they did some of the Lakers renovations to their training facilities.
Oh, really?
They built some apartments recently in downtown. That's
awesome.
He's handled some cool stuff.
And you have a younger brother too.
Younger brother too. He's still figuring out what he's gonna do, but he's thinking about law school.
Oh, wow.
And we'll see if he follows the real estate path or not. I don't know. I don't really know what he wants to do. But
Where did you go to undergrad?
I went to UC Riverside.
UC Riverside. And you studied?
Business administration.
And then you went to also graduate school and got your MBA.
Graduate school, yeah. So I went to a school called Baruch in New York. It's kind of a small city school, but I got a partial scholarship to go. And it's kind of like a free ticket out to try something new. I haven't lived anywhere else other than California. So
was that a difficult adjustment to be that far away from home?
Yeah.
What was the biggest?
My feet hurt a lot. They do a lot of walking in New York.
Oh, right. Yeah. West Coast, we don't walk too much.
No, I drive everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's definitely a big adjustment just because, the pace. Everyone says the pace. It's real, And so even
and you lived in the city, right? In Manhattan.
In Manhattan. My school is in Manhattan. So I was out there for 2 years.
What do you think the biggest difference between undergrad and grad school was for your preparation in your job?
So I feel like undergrad is kind of like touching a lot of different areas. For me, it wasn't very like specialized. And so that's part of the reason why I went back to grad school. I was kind of like unsatisfied with like my education.
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to kind of like, hone some skills and learn some new things. And so grad school like really prepped me for a lot of, I think, my career, just because it forces you to be, or teaches you how to be a good employee. You have to be able to manage your time, manage people, and you're constantly having curveballs thrown at you. I really wanted to go and work for a bigger company after school, and so when you're in, I guess, graduate setting, they have like all these opportunities for you.
Yeah.
So like people, I sat in a class with 10 people, and the Moody's CEO came.
10 people? That was your
10
class? Wow.
And the Moody's CEO came to speak to people. And you get opportunities like this, and so it kind of like
that you don't have in a big school,
right.
especially when you're an undergrad, right?
So it like pushes you to kind of like put yourself into these settings. You have to manage your time, and it really structures you to structured me and set me up to work for a larger company.
Are there people at your company that get hired in what you do without going to grad school?
So specifically where I am at,
yeah,
you had to have gone to grad school.
I see.
Yeah, but they do. I mean, it's a large company, so they hire from
right.
all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, undergrad, grad. Even I don't know.
Was there a gap between when you applied to grad school and graduating?
Yeah, so I actually worked for about 4 years, I think, before going back to grad school.
4? Oh, right.
Yeah,
4 years, right.
So after undergrad, I started working for a small company, and then.
So when did it click that you were gonna go back to school?
So the company I was working at there wasn't any growth to it, and they started making some mistakes, some big mistakes that really cost them a lot, and it's just something that I didn't want to be a part of. So I felt like there's.
So did you quit before you applied?
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah. I was studying while I was actually working there, and then one day I just kind of had enough.
What'd your parents say when you said you were going to go to New York for grad school?
They're kind of shocked. So I don't know if anyone knows me. I'm kind of like a homebody, I like to just chill and hang out, and it was kind of like. Do
you think that helps when you leave home too? Because if you're right, because if you want to go out all the time, and if it's that culturally different.
So yeah, I mean the biggest thing too for me, it was good because I kind of like got away from everything. I kind of focused on myself. So I moved away from friends, family, and I was kind of out there alone. And so I was able to focus on myself. I didn't have any ties to anything else, and I could just kind of do what I needed to do to get where I am.
That's crazy. So, but they didn't like say don't do it.
No.
Or like, did they suggest other schools?
Yeah. So I got into a couple other schools in California, but they're just too close to home. It just wouldn't have been a change of settings. And for real estate, New York is big.
Right.
So it's kind of like it was a logical step, and I don't regret it at all. I loved it out there.
So, the company you work for currently, you also worked for when you were in New York.
Yeah. So I actually.
How did you get linked with that company?
Okay, so it's kind of a funny story. So I actually, when I was out there, I was working for a bank, kind of
doing the same thing.
Doing something different. It kind of wasn't what I wanted to do. I was a part of this bankers association that I went to, and I met someone from my company. He said, "Hey, we're taking applications. You should probably apply." And so from that, I applied, got an internship out there. And then.
And this was from knowing that guy who suggested it.
And then at the end of the internship, I got a job offer. But it was funny because everyone who interned got paired up with someone, a manager above them.
Mm-hmm.
And I befriended someone that was actually working out of the LA office, or she worked from the LA office.
Did you know that she worked there?
Yeah, yeah. So while I was there, and I just told her, from the beginning that, I would like to be able to go home if I have a chance. And so when they finally gave me the offer, they gave me the, chance to either work in New York or the option to work from home.
If they didn't offer you to relocate back home, would you have stayed in New York?
I think
would you have found another?
I think I would have stayed in New York. I would probably just let them know early that I want to plan eventually go back.
Staying in New York, how much money would you have spent on rent? living in Manhattan.
I would have no money. But I mean, it was definitely worth it. Expensive place, but definitely something that I don't regret at all.
How long after you graduated from grad school did it take for you to come? Was it immediate?
That I came back?
Yeah.
So actually,
so you knew you were relocating before you graduated?
Yeah. So
how early did you know that?
I think it was 2 months before I graduated.
2 months. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I had the job lined up, and I knew I was coming back. I actually had some time off in the summer, and so it was kind of nice to kind of relax, decompress after school.
And you do the same work you did in New York in LA?
It's a little bit different, but I mean, basically, yeah.
Consulting, right?
Yeah.
What is a work week like? Like how do you work a regular 9 to 5 hour, or like how do they?
It's a very flexible job, but right now it's very busy, so it's a lot of hours. It's about, I don't know, I'd say we work right now 50 to 60 hours a week.
56. Wow. So you work weekends?
Sometimes, not always. But it's kind of like if there's deadlines, things need to go out. You just gotta get the job done.
How difficult is it for you to hang out with friends and see people?
I make it a point to kind of like at least take a day off, because I used to basically work like 7 days a week.
And are they okay like with that?
Yeah. So I kind of like schedule my week so that I can do that. Finish up work so I can. Before, at like past jobs, I used to work like every single day, and eventually you just get burned out. You get tired, and then you just lose a lot of motivation.
I've noticed some people don't work well if they don't have a lot of directions. And where you work, how is it important to be independent? And
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, a lot of the work I do, it's kind of like, this is what we're trying to do, and they kind of like give you free reign on how you want to do it. You just have to get things in by certain deadlines, but it's kind of like you work at your own pace.
How often do you see a manager or a supervisor?
Sometimes they're in, sometimes they're not. So this company is really good because a lot of people, have families. Sometimes some people live really far, so a lot of people will work from home sometimes. Sometimes they're out like doing site visits, and for half the day, and it doesn't make sense to come to the office, so you just go back home or go into a different office and work. So I would say I see these people maybe 3 times a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, managers, senior managers, and partners maybe like 3 times a week.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Casey has. You know how many YouTube videos you have online?
No, I don't.
I gave up counting after a certain number, right? You don't have a lot on your channel, but you've dedicated a lot of time being in other people's videos, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Scott's videos.
Yeah.
I was watching. You were in a ton of people. You were in Just Kidding Films, skits.
Oh yeah, a couple of those.
I think I saw you in like Jasmine's videos too. You play guitar for her. Yeah. You've done guitar for Alexa.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people, right? Jason Chen. the list goes on. Like I was actually doing it, and I after a while I was like, this is why people get interns, because you don't want to do all of this thing. For people that don't live in California, they don't understand why, if somebody has that amount of attention, popularity, and access to people in that kind of field, why they don't pursue it, right? Why? Can you explain it in the easiest way of why you didn't want to pursue the entertainment side? Because you're a very talented singer. You're amazing at playing the guitar, right? So what do you think? Is it a passion thing, or is it a practical thing?
Yeah, something that I always wanted to keep as a hobby. It was something that I didn't want to have to do as a routine. And when it became routine, it I kind of lost a little bit of interest for it. It's something that I like to do just to do it. Yeah. I don't care about who likes it or not. It's something that I enjoyed doing. It was fun to me.
So you never got caught up in how many views or likes it was getting?
I don't really care about it. It doesn't matter to me.
Why, do you think it's your upbringing then? Your parents, do they... Are your brothers like that too?
Yeah, our brothers are like that too. It's kind of like... I mean... It doesn't matter who sees what I do. I enjoy doing things that I like to do because I like it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite video you've ever been a part of?
Favorite video? I mean, it's the ones doing with Scott. So I mean, a lot of people don't know, but Scott and I grew up together.
How old were you when you guys met?
I think
your parents knew
each other before we were born, and so I think they knew each other from back in.
Are you guys the same age?
High school, yeah, same age. And so actually, my mom and Scott's dad play in a band together.
Okay.
And so we've known each other since we were born, played basketball together growing up, and so I've known this guy for forever. Basically.
So it's very important time growing up.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys that was the boom of Asian YouTube acoustic singer era. That was I was in college, and everyone would be sharing these videos on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
And this is before I knew you or anybody and all these things. And it seemed like down here, everyone knew each other.
Yeah. But that's like the beautiful thing about it too. I mean, so doing it, I was able to make, so many friends. Like I don't think I ever would have met you if
right,
I did, yeah,
right.
We wouldn't have never
without
been,
YouTube and the whole scene. Yeah, for
so
sure.
It's cool to see what it can do. It connect people like this, and now we're here. 7 years later?
Do you think that kind of stuff helped you for when you had to network for your career?
No, I never kind of like.
So you were always pretty social.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I never. I guess it could performing on stage is kind of like
Public speaking,
and it did. I guess it did help a little bit.
So please explain. Okay. I've dug up some stuff, and some stuff I know. Yeah, and I'd like you to know. November 9th, 2010. You know what that day is?
What happened then?
I'm gonna play the audio. I condensed it because I didn't want to play the whole thing, and then you can let me know what happened during this time, right?
There are 26 letters in the alphabet. I'll start
Oh.
with D.
Oh, this is one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, I think. It's so funny. So I actually saw Scott.
Okay. First, let's set up the video. Okay, so I think it was Scott and Jason's vlog channel.
Yeah.
And they asked you like a riddle question that I've asked several people just to see if they get the same reaction. I asked a couple friends last night and others because I said I was gonna say this, right? And they got the word right away. And I think the question is, what is a 4-letter word you call a female that ends in UNT? Right? And obviously you didn't think it was the word that everybody's thinking right now. But you decide to go down the alphabet starting at D. Why?
So, yeah, I know. It's one of those moments. So my logic was, it just wasn't any of the first letters in the alphabet. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Which is, the irony is, it's the first letter in the alphabet.
I know. It's like, okay, so it's not...
It's aunt, by the way.
It's not the third letter, so I might as well start the fourth letter. And this took me, I don't know how long. Just one of those moments, That's funny.
I mean, if they didn't edit the video, it took somewhere around 4 minutes and 40-something seconds, I believe. I have the audio somewhere.
I don't think I've watched it ever.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was laughing so hard, right? And then as I was digging that up, because I knew I wanted to ask here, I laughed so hard again, editing it, watching it. I actually watched the whole video. Just, first I had to know where in the video was the audio to take out. But it was just so hilarious. So you saw Scott, you said?
I saw Scott. This past week we went to a Lakers-Clippers game. And
who won?
The Clippers.
And they're both not good right now.
No, they're both horrible. It was a strange game. But I hung out with Scott, and he actually brought that up. He's like, hey, remember that one time?
It's a classic moment. When you have kids, right? I think that's the interesting thing about YouTube that we're living right now in social media. Our parents probably did a lot of weird, dumb stuff. But we won't know it unless someone shared it. And even then, we don't even have proof.
Yeah.
Our children literally have proof, unless Scott and Jason decide to take down the video, of all these things. Now, granted, someone of your stature has so many videos online that I actually had to write the words because I knew what I was looking for. It won't pop up in like the first 5 pages.
Is that what it's labeled as?
I put Casey Nishizu aunt video. Yeah. But if you look up Casey Nishizu, it doesn't pop up for like... I never saw it. It was just so... I went through a lot of pages and I was just like, I can't find the video. I'm just going to specifically put... Because I knew what I was looking for.
Yeah.
That's another thing I discuss a lot with Stacy, my wife. We grew up in a generation where we'll go through encyclopedias and find things by accident or an atlas or whatever.
What do you mean?
Like, I used to look up stuff in encyclopedia, and along the way of flipping the pages, I find something by accident, right? On Google will tell you everything, but you have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes in related searches through whatever algorithm they choose, you pop up something.
Right.
But so like your kids, if they don't know the story and someone doesn't tell them to look
Context.
it up, right? Which is what this is for.
Now we can document it. Now we can know
but,
why.
I think it's a classic moment that that provides a good laugh. That
one of those
Yeah,
spaz
yeah.
moment. As a kid, that was my nickname, the spaz.
why is that?
Just I used,
Oh, you spaz out?
I was a clumsy kid,
Mm.
so even to today, like I'll walk through doors, walk past walls, and hit my shoulder.
You're a clumsy guy, but you play basketball.
I'm a clumsy basketball player. See, I don't know if you
I've
ever
actually
seen
never
me,
hooped
but
with you.
I'm a
We gotta
clumsy
do it
basketball
sometime.
player.
Okay. So there's another day. Please explain. March 5th, 2015. You know what that day is?
March.
I'm a very numbers-oriented person.
I can't recall. That was right before I left.
Yes. So can you figure it out? You're right. You're on the right path right now. You were on a plane next to an actress that plays Luna Lovegood.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that.
So I was flying to New York,
Yeah.
actually. It's funny. So that same exact day, I don't know. I really liked that show, MasterChef,
Yes.
and so I actually ran into one of the runner-ups, and we were on the same flight. And then I get on the plane, and I sit down, and there's this girl sitting next to me with blonde hair, and I was like, "Hey, this girl looks really familiar." And I thought, "No way, is she in that movie?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no." And so she ended up sleeping the whole way.
Did you know? Do you know her real name? You didn't call her Luna, did you?
No, so here's the thing. Yeah, so I was sitting next to her, and I was like, I don't know if this is this famous girl or not.
Okay,
I think I've seen
yeah.
her in a movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Specifically, like 6 movies.
yeah, this can't be Luna from Harry Potter.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so she ends up sleeping the whole flight. When we pull into JFK,
She slept the whole flight?
She slept the whole flight.
You know, actually, that I would expect nothing else.
Yeah. So she slept the whole flight. We get into JFK, and there's a little delay, parking the plane.
Okay.
And so I whip up my phone and then turn off airplane mode, and I started looking up her real name, and I was like, is she here? I was looking on her Twitter, like, oh, did she tweet that she's coming to New York or something? Because I couldn't figure it out. I didn't want to embarrass myself and say, hey, are you so-and-so?
You think it would embarrass somebody if you say they look like a
I
celebrity?
think it would embarrass me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, oh, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. So I asked her, I was like, hey, by any chance, are you, and I forgot her name.
Oh my god.
Ivana Lynch?
Is that her real name?
I think so.
Okay.
See, I didn't,
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know. And she's like, yeah, it's me. And she sounds just like
Right.
Lovegood.
What do you mean she sounds just like... Oh,
No, I
got
mean,
it. At that point, you were
in her
thinking
persona,
that.
she's actually like that bubbly kind of like a person. And we ended up talking for 20, 30 minutes. She was there.
That's
like
awesome.
Independent movie. And yeah.
Were you starstruck? Have you ever been starstruck? Because you've met a lot of, like, borderline famous, popular people.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hit me that hard. But people are people,
So you've never been starstruck ever?
Let's see. Not really.
I think two
it's-
times for me.
I guess I haven't really met any A-listers, I guess you could say, Who have you met?
The two that flustered... I mean,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
flustered me. The first one was Tori Kelly.
Mm.
I don't know why I was like... I don't know. This is, like, before she blew up, too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but
After,
I was, like,
American
frozen.
Idol.
Yeah, but, like, everyone else I was okay with.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, but... and then the other one was Penn Badgley. He's Dan Humphrey on Gossip Girl.
Oh. I don't watch the show, but yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
so I
Penny,
met him
yeah,
at
yeah.
a farmer's market while getting cauliflower with...
Really?
Yeah, I was holding Elia. Stacey was getting cauliflower. I looked over, and I was like, Penn? And he did one of these things where he's like... Because I don't look like the average Gossip Girl fan. Right?
True. Yeah, I
so
wouldn't
he
take you
walks
as a
up,
Gossip
right?
Girl.
So he walks up, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he said his dad lives nearby, and he's just walking, chilling,
Huh.
like no one's bothering him, nothing, right?
Yeah.
And we talked for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and I realized I'm taking up too much time, so I grabbed Stacy and I was like, "Okay, can you take our picture?" And we take the photo, and I told. I kind of worded in third person. I was like, Elia, tell him thank you. Daddy binge watched the show right after you're born. And he goes, really? And then that led to another conversation because we had Netflix and Gossip Girls on Netflix, and I binged it. And, I'm a big Josh Schwartz fan. He did the OC. He's doing that Dynasty right now. But yeah, so when I saw him, I was like, oh, it was. And I posted it, and like every single female Facebook friend I had was like all over the thing.
Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah. And Stacy had no idea who he was.
Oh.
Like zero clue. She's like, who
So
is he?
you watch it
By myself.
without her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would never take you as a Gossip Girl.
I'm a huge rom-com drama.
Yeah, you are.
I am
Yeah, you
Korean to
are.
it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So I have a few questions inspired by the 2009 classic film I Love You, Man, starring Paul Rudd.
I like that movie.
Yes. I know. I know, yeah, specifically. So,
I love you, man.
The first question is Sidney Clavin, right?
Fine. You know what to do.
Hey Peter, it's Sidney Clavin.
So for those of you that haven't watched it, Peter Clavin is the protagonist, and Sidney Fife is the person he's calling, and he calls himself Sidney Clavin, being nervous, right? Because Peter is a socially awkward person with very few friends, and he was taking a huge risk by calling him and asking for something. What is the biggest risk you've taken to further your career in life?
Oh. I would say, well, moving to New York. So when you go to graduate school, it's kind of like you go to kind of build a network. And I knew that I always wanted to come back. And so I kind of built up this network in New York and got a job out in New York with plans of coming back. And I didn't know how I was going to get back. I mean, luckily, everything just kind of like
How much did that scare you that you didn't know the answer?
It's kind of exciting, you know? So at first, New York was kind of rough, but I really enjoy it. I really do miss it. And it was kind of like I didn't have any plans. I didn't know how I was going to make any of, I guess, my plans come together. And it was kind of like everything was up in the air for a while, and it was really scary because I missed home. And I guess I'm a very structured person too. I don't like to do things without, I guess, a direction. And it was kind of the first time that I was like, all right, let's just do this, you know? This is a good opportunity. Let's just do this and see what happens. And so it was scary, but I mean, it was something that kind of motivated me, pushed me to basically figure out how to get that done.
That's awesome. All right, next question is Jogan.
You got it, Jogan.
So, sorry, I didn't know you got to drink while that happened. Okay, so, yeah, again, Sidney calls Peter Clavin Pistol after Pistol Pete Maravich, you know, the great basketball legend. And he replies with, "You got it, Jogan," which means nothing, right? When have you ever been incredibly clueless in your career or job and just had to, like, make it up and it was just, like, a bomb?
So, early in my career, I had to, I guess, show these investors. They were from China. They were looking to basically rent out some spot. And I had no idea what I was doing. My boss just said, just go out and meet them and just find out what's going on. And they were asking me all these questions about real estate, how, you know, I guess details of like leases and things like that. And I just shook my head and said, yeah, that's part of it too. And
how did that end up working out?
They didn't use us anymore. So,
oh, wow.
But yeah, I had no idea what they were asking me. It was probably straight out of undergrad. I hadn't worked in real estate at all. I didn't know anything about it. And so it was, I guess, I woke up after that and forced myself to kind of learn about all those different things.
So I mean, in that moment, it probably sucked, but you learned a lot from it.
Yeah. So I mean, I learned a lot from it. Just learning how to prepare for these kind of things.
Right.
I think I just didn't think that they would kind of give me that kind of responsibility, so I was unprepared.
I think you learn a lot more from messing
mistakes.
up than succeeding. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
especially early on.
Oh yeah. So after that moment, I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even. I didn't know this story was gonna be.
It was crash and burn, that one.
All right. Next question.
This is my nightmare.
So, sorry. Every time you're drinking, I play the sound.
I just haven't seen this movie in so long.
Yeah. So Sydney's least favorite thing he says to do is golf with girls, and Peter forces him to go, and he gets hit in the shin with a golf ball, right? And it's his nightmare. What is the worst part or worst thing you've ever had to do in your career?
Oh.
Is there a worst?
Yeah, once, and it's something that I regret, but I once had to take the fall for something that I didn't do to kind of save face of the company.
Wow.
So it was kind of like we were...
is this the current company you're working at?
No.
Okay, so previously.
Yeah, previously. So what had happened is someone had mistakenly... let me back up. So we had this investor, and he wanted to partner with us. And we had accidentally released information that wasn't supposed to be released yet.
Oh, wow.
And some people found out that the people that we didn't want to find out found out. It's something that I didn't do, but...
Were you on that project?
I was on the project.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that I didn't do, and when we found out, the only way to kind of like save the relationship was for me to take the fall. And it's something
Who had that conversation with you about you having to take that fall?
My bosses.
And what did you say?
I mean, I just said that, yeah, I would do it because I didn't see any other way around it, and that kind of like spiraled down.
Was that the beginning of the end?
Beginning
or
of the
did you
end.
already know at that point that you were gonna?
Beginning of the end. So it worked, and it's something that, I regret because it's kind of like on me to, made me look really bad, and then just me having to do that, I just feel really bad. I don't like to lie. I don't like.
Do your
liars.
parents? Did you tell your parents about this?
No. I don't think anyone knows about this. Well, now everyone knows about it, but it's something that.
Yes, because the millions of people that are gonna listen to this. Wow.
So it's something that, still regret to this day. But it was like a.
Would you have done it differently if you went back?
Yeah, definitely. I would have said no.
And do you think that would cost you your job then?
And even if it did, didn't
right.
matter. I felt like I did the wrong thing in that situation.
Why do you think you did it? Is it your age or like you were?
I mean, it's just like it was a big opportunity for us, but at the same time, I just was so invested into that company.
Yeah.
I had worked there for a couple of years.
Was that your first real job?
Or did you? First serious job, I would say. I worked a couple different random jobs.
Right.
Before. And so that's why I really, we were booming. We were growing a lot, and just something that I wanted to see. It was a project that I wanted to see finish because it would have taken us to this next level. And so,
there's two parts to this right now. Like, this is a very funny movie, and we're getting very serious responses.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't even know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we're very close friends, so wow.
And so, I learned a lot from it. And it's just basically, people will respect you more for standing up for yourself. People will take you more seriously if you do what you think is right. And just, at the end of the day, you have to live with it.
So, you've done shows in a lot of different cities, and you lived in New York for your career, right? So,
Hands down, best fish taco I've ever had in my life.
I've been to that place in Vegas.
I know, best fish tacos, right? So, the question is, what is the best thing you've had to eat because you had to be in that specific location for your career? Whether it was doing shows or in New York?
Eat?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a hard one. When I was in New York, I would eat bagels maybe like at least two times a week. And there's this one place in New York called Russ and Daughters. It's lox and bagels. And it's just...
That good?
It's just one of the best things I've ever had. And I don't know why, but to this day, I still crave it.
Wow. I gotta try that.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's just... The fish is just... Oh, I don't know why. I didn't really even like, lox and bagels before. But just going out there and just having it... It was just a staple of my week. Just having, bagels on the go. Because there wasn't any time to kind of like sit down and have lunch. Just grab something and just go. And so that was one of the spots that, I would try to go to a lot.
You've given real good gems to the I Love You Man segment that I didn't know was going to happen. The last one is Bro Montana, right?
I love you, Bro Montana.
So in the end, they do this whole spiel, I love you, man. I love you,
yeah.
Bro Montana. Who has been the biggest support in your career? It doesn't have to be one single person. It could be a group of people. Who do you... Because I don't feel that anyone ever gets anywhere by themselves.
Right,
I mean, you have to make the effort, but they're a support system and stability that... The foundation that has been built. Who do you think has been the biggest cheerleader, fan?
Let's see. Parents and my core group of friends back home. It's for me. It's, I guess, professionally. I kind of know where I need to go.
Yeah.
And I know kind of how to get there, and so I'm just very focused on that. And what my friends and family do help me to decompress, turn off from work, help me get away. I used to work a lot, and so hanging out with friends and family kind of helped me separate work from my personal life. I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
So you don't obsess over it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the biggest help.
That's All right, man. We're gonna close this out. I want to close every podcast out with a segment I call "What I Admire About the Person I'm With." Right. you're an anomaly to me because I have these. I don't have it in a particular order, but I have a set things I felt like were important in people being appreciative and hard workers and stuff like that, right? And you break all that rules list that I have, which is a very positive outlook for me because the way I'm raising my daughter is very different than the way I was raised, right? But you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met. You're not just ambitious, because a lot of people say a lot of things and then don't do anything to get there, right? Small baby steps takes time. Like, you had a job and you quit.
Yeah.
You applied to grad school. You flew 3,000 miles to get there. You stuck with it. I mean, the rent out there is no joke.
Yeah.
And you know, sucked it up and you worked there, right? You're genuinely probably one of the most friendliest people I've ever met. Okay, we're ending this with you're genuinely one of the most friendliest people I know. Every time I come out to LA, you come out and make an effort to see me, and time is a very hard thing to give. And there's this one part, I think we were in Irvine, and this is when you were telling us, me and Kevin, that you were going to go out to New York to go to grad school. And I was asking what you want to do. And you told the story about how your parents are your heroes and that you've always looked up to them. And that day was the first time I self-reflected on why I think the way I think. And that gave me the right words to explain to my parents what I was going to do with my life. And that was a very big monumental moment in my life.
Awesome.
And it's a very good thing. I hope that when people listen to this, the millions of people that are going to listen to this, know that you're just a good person. You're hardworking, and your characteristics, I hope people pick up on, that you got to take risk, invest in yourself, and just make the effort in accomplishing what you want to accomplish, because you're not where you want to be yet, but you're getting there, and you will be. We'll visit this in 20 years, 15 years, and then
see what happens.
Right, exactly. This is proof. All right, man. This is Casey Nishizu, and we are the Underdawgs. Good stuff.